My big saying is motivation is crap. Right now, a lot of you right now can be motivated as hell, go out of here and be like, yeah, I'm motivated. Like you said, you're right. Without being driven or obsessed, this motivation fades. And motivation is at the all-time high when your bills are paid, when your wife or husband is good, when everything is good, you're motivated. It's that person when all hell breaks loose and everything falls apart that says, I still got to get it in. And how you get to that point in life, what I figured out, it's so noisy right now. This world is so noisy. We all walk around with these phones, computers. The world is so fast. We're not able to think. The most powerful weapon in the world, we walk around with it. It's our mind, it's our brain. You have to be able to go into a very dark place in your mind and figure who you are. Go back to what you want to do, what's your purpose. We can't figure our purpose out or why we're here or why we're even born or whatever because it's so loud in our mind. We don't have any quiet time with ourselves to sit back and say, what do I really want? There's so many different dialogues in our head that we can't think. So my biggest thing is you have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind to think about what is important to you. I learned I was leaving a lot on the table, and that's what scares me the most. I'm good now, but what haunts me is that at 24 years old, I was 300 pounds, and if I didn't make a right turn, if I decided to just give in to the feelings I had, I would have died a 300 or 400 pound man working some minimum wage job in my casket, never knowing that I was this guy.
Well, discipline was huge. But then we always fall back on what's comfortable to us. What's comfortable for me was, if it's easy for me, I'm gonna do it. And so when I was going through pararescue training, I ran up against an obstacle that I didn't think I was gonna run up, and it was the water. I hated the water. But I tried hard to get over that. And I would go to the pool and I would try. But my mind wasn't strong enough. David Goggins, even with all the discipline, I didn't have that next level. When you're truly committed to something, not like where you I want to be a doctor, but when I run into this roadblock, I don't want to be a doctor. No, I'm going to be a doctor come hell and high water. I needed that kind of commitment. And David Goggins didn't know about that commitment. I knew how to wash a car. I knew how to clean a house. I knew how to, do all these manual labor jobs. But when it came down to true suffering, to the highest of suffering, I didn't have that next level of, all right, we have this next level. David Goggins wasn't enough. So I went into my mental lab and realized, but I want to be great, but I don't have greatness in me. So I had to create a that was great. And in my mind, I'm really big on visualization. I went in my mind, I said, okay, I want to look like this, I want to feel like this, and I want to have a mind that is cast iron steel, that is never dull, that is always sharp. That was the biggest thing I wanted. But I didn't waver, I didn't fear, I didn't run away. I just stayed and marinated in the fear, in the suffering. And through that, building Goggins, I will become Goggins when necessary. And I started to do these things on my own. I had my own training ground. I built a training ground. I wasn't Navy SEALs. If you go to Navy SEAL training not prepared, you're going to quit. So I built this training ground on my own. And I started doing these horrific things that David Goggins couldn't handle. But Goggins started slowly coming up. I started putting that visualization of the guy I wanted to create. And in that water, when things got hard, when I was training on my own, Goggins would appear. Goggins would appear. When David Goggins would come up, Goggins would smack him down and say, no, I'm gonna drag you through this. And that's kind of how it happened. Over a period of time, this man evolved. Goggins became the guy that can withstand all kind of torture and pain and keep coming after you. And that's where that next step with evolution became.
It starts with yourself, man. You gotta start diving into those things that you're afraid of. You don't gain confidence
by going to the spot that makes you feel good. It's gonna be a false reality. And the second life gives you that challenge, all you wanna do is go back to what made you confidence or what gave you confidence. Is that happy spot? No. What gives you confidence, what gave me confidence was spending years at a kitchen table trying to learn how to read and write on my own. Realizing I can't learn the way you learn. I can't, but I can learn. What gives you confidence, not being afraid, is overcoming the fear. I used to stutter severely bad. So right now, I don't know how many people are gonna watch this. You know what gives me confidence? Is knowing I no longer care if I sit here and start stuttering to you. That's what gives me confidence, is facing these things, overcoming them. And maybe not overcoming them every day, but facing them. And facing them and facing them. Pretty soon like this, you know what, man, this is where it's at. It's not in that comfort zone. It's in the discomfort zone is where my confidence is getting built. That's where it's getting built. But people want an easier answer. There has to be an easier way. There's not. I'm sorry. I searched for it my entire life. And I still felt empty. I coach a lot of people nowadays, billionaires, who call me on the phone and say, man, I'm still missing something. It's because they did what they were good at. And they have this beautiful family, 2, 3 houses, cars, everything. Has everything in the world. On the outside looking in, like, my God, man, how can you be unhappy? I walk around with a backpack with all my stuff in it, with no car. And I walk around happiest person in the world. Have nothing, happy as hell. It's because I found out the whole key to life. It's not in all that. You have to face yourself. So many people live to be 100 years old and they die miserable, having everything, because they never examine. I call it my live autopsy. You never examine this. Happiness, peace, enlightenment, it's all up here, man. It's all up here. And when I start talking like this, people go, man, you know, I don't know. It's the truth, man.
Yeah, it is true.
It's all up here. You just gotta be willing to go and face it. And that's the hard part.
I joined the Air Force, 175 pounds, came out at 297. We'll get to that in a second. So they drew my blood and they kept me out of training for a week. They didn't know if this sickle cell was gonna kill me. They have a lot of information about it. So I'm sitting there. So when you go from very uncomfortable to comfortable like I was now, I wasn't in training, I wasn't drowning, you never want to go back to being uncomfortable again. So I'm sitting there relaxing, chilling out. I'm thinking, well, man, they're gonna kick me out of here. I'm not gonna quit though, so this is good. I don't want to get back in the water ever again so I can leave training. So this is my thought process. The doc calls me in a week later. I'm skipping down to the doc's office thinking, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not gonna quit, but they're kicking me out, so that's good for me. I walk in the doctor's office, he says, hey man, we're putting you back into training. Not good, it's not good. But I'm like, okay, let me see. I've been in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 3 weeks left. I can tough it out. I'm walking back to my compound, talking to the head of the school, walking to the CEO of the school. I say, hey, sir, they let me back into training. He goes, that's great. He goes, well, you missed a week of training. There's a very important block of training you missed. You have to start from day one. But when you're insecure like I was and you're afraid of everything like I used to be, you lie really fast because you don't want the person knowing that you're a punk. So I sat there and I said, you know what? The doc didn't know a whole bunch about sickle cell, so I'm not comfortable going back into training. The CEO bit off on it, and I never quit, but he gave me a medical out of pararescue. But you all know I quit, then we'll go back in the water. But I ain't telling anybody that for several years. So in that time frame, 4 years, and I became 297 pounds.
So when I was in 6th grade, we had a play, and I used to stutter real bad, man. I mean, like, I couldn't say a word without just going off on my stuttering, man. So whenever I'm in front of people, I tell them that. I literally walked off a stage because I couldn't get the damn, I had one line to say in 6th grade, one line. And I literally walked off stage because I couldn't say the line. So I get in front of these people, I speak for an hour and a half. And I look at them before I start speaking, and I say, my God, this is pretty amazing. When I was a young kid, I couldn't even stand in front of 2 people to speak in front of them. And where I'm getting at is, I found great power in facing my fears. And by doing that, it gave me such confidence to stand in front of a lot of people, because I now know what a lot of us are going through so much, but I had the guts to face it. I had the guts to tell people how messed up I am, how messed up I was, the struggles I'm going through. Very few people have that in them to do that on a public platform, and that gives you a lot of confidence when you finally get to the point when you really mean I don't give what you think about me. There's a lot of power in the fact that you can stand up in front of people and look at them, and if you mess up or if you start stuttering, you don't care. And to have that kind of mindset, I'm finally there now through facing myself. So yeah, all those things, I don't fear too much anymore, man. And if I do, I attack it.
And what scares me the most is I believe that God, in my own mind, I'm a big visualization person. So what keeps me going is like visualizing. It's not true, but it helps me. I believe that God had this big chart in heaven. And when you get there, if you earn your right to get there, you get there in heaven, and you get there, let's say I walked up at 300 pounds. And God says, hey man, great job, you made it to heaven. And he rips this page down from Brian Underwood. And now it says David Goggins' chart. He rips it down, throws that paper to the side. And he says, look at this. And I'm reading it. I go, what is this? He goes, how much do you weigh? 300 pounds. What did you do? I was a pest control guy for 40 years. He says, this is what you were supposed to be. A 185-pound person. Be able to run 205 miles. Break the pull-up record. Motivate people. Energize people. Make them driven. Make them passionate. Make them find more. So am I in heaven or in hell? That's what motivates me. It scares me also, because I believe that we are all leaving a lot on the table. And now when I go to heaven, what I want God to look at me and say is, as you were living, I'm the all-knowing man. I had to get a damn marker out and write more as you were living. You see what I'm saying? I want to impress him. I started shaving my head at a young age, and I lied so much because I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be accepted so badly. So whatever you liked, I liked. I mean, I liked it, but just so you like me, that's what I thought about. So for a period of time, looking in that mirror every day, you can't lie to yourself, man. That dirty bathroom mirror that with all that daggone toothpaste scum and whatever on it, it's telling you the truth. It's saying, hey man, you are a jacked up cat. And a lot of us have this voice in our head. We all know that voice in our head that tells us the truth every single day that we try to run away from, that says we're scared of this, let's go this way. It started gnawing at me so horribly bad that it wouldn't allow me to live anymore without facing me. I had to go back in the dungeon. So when I tell my story, I tell it on a very surface level. I had to go down in the dungeon, the sewer where my mind used to be at, and talk to that guy. Because I wanted to live my life in a way that when I died, I was proud of myself. I knew what pride felt like. And if it took pushing myself to death, I was willing to do that. I wanted to look in that mirror, not impress anybody, not money, not fame, not nothing. I wanted to impress the guy in the daggone mirror. And I worked endlessly and tirelessly to do that. And it happened.
There's several days I don't want to do. I procrastinate. This is one of those days, man. I put my shoes and my socks and my shorts on every day. Woke up this morning and just stared at them. Didn't want to do shit. Didn't know why I was doing shit. A lot of times we forget just how badass we are. So what I do, and I've done for so many years, I write down. I've been writing, so this book right here, this is just about a 3-year book, but I've been writing down for years what I do. So I open up to a page today, look at it, and I go through looking at 18 miles, 16 miles, 17 miles, 15 miles, 16, 116 mile week, 123 mile week, 20, 18, 16, all by myself, training alone, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, all this I write down here to remind me of the work I put into the craft that is myself. So we have to always remember Our purpose will always be there. I have nothing in front of me right now. No race, no nothing. But the purpose is myself. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. On those bad days, when you think that you're alone, you just might be. Because you know why? No one else wants to do it. So you be the that always gets it done. Stay hard.